Ethan Vance, a talented young CEO, only 28, is at the peak of his fame. He has a close friendship with Liam Hayes, his childhood friend, and he deeply respects and loves Liam's mother, Mrs. Sophia Bellwood, 52 years old, a warm, delicate woman whom he always considers as a second mother. A perfect family relationship, right? But then, the most taboo thing happened. In a moment of weakness, Ethan realized that he was in love with Sophia. Not the love of an adopted child, but the intense love of a man for a woman. A love that goes against all social and moral standards and especially is the most terrible betrayal of his best friend. Ethan, what will he do with this sinful love? Will he dare to confess? How will Sophia react to the feelings of her beloved son? And the most terrifying thing, what will happen when Liam discovers this shocking secret? Will their friendship of many years be broken? Will their mother-daughter relationship be broken? A tragedy about insurmountable limits, about the price to pay for wrong feelings. Is there any way out for them? Or will they all be drowned in pain and torment? Listen to discover this tearful tragedy. Ethan Vance, at the ambitious age of 28, is a name mentioned with respect and a bit of reserve in the Chicago venture capital world. He is the CEO of Vance Capital, the company he built from scratch, a testament to his sharp intellect, market acumen, and an almost ascetic work ethic. Early success often comes with lonely silence. His modern, luxurious office overlooks the windy Lake Michigan, but inside is so neat that it is cold, reflecting a life that seems to revolve around work, deals, and relentless pressure. Ethan rarely shows emotions, and romantic relationships come and go quickly, not deep enough to touch the depths of his soul. In that pressured and somewhat unloving world, the family of Liam Hayes, Ethan's best friend since diapers, is like a haven peaceful landing. Liam, also 28, is a talented, cheerful architect who is the complete opposite of Ethan's thoughtful, focused appearance. They are two different pieces, but inseparable, sharing every secret, every success and failure. And at the center of that peaceful landing is Sophia Bellwood, Liam's mother. At 52, Sophia is a successful interior designer, an independent, sophisticated woman with a warm smile and deep, understanding eyes. Her husband died early when Liam was young, and she raised her son alone while building a solid career of her own. For Ethan, who has a less than warm relationship with his distant biological family, Sophia is more than just the mother of his best friend. She is Miss Sophia, a second mother who always welcomes him with open arms, someone he can turn to share difficult things, someone who always listens with patience and offers wise advice without judgment. Sophia and Liam's cozy, elegant home in Lincoln Park is where Ethan feels most comfortable and can be himself. He loves and respects Sophia immensely, seeing her as a model of strength, independence, and warmth. That close, innocent relationship has lasted for nearly 30 years of his life. But then, one hot summer evening, everything begins to go wrong in an unexpected way. Vance Capital is at risk of losing a large investment due to a mistake in assessing the market. Ethan feels terrible pressure, his usual confidence shaken. He goes to Liam's house as usual, hoping to relieve stress with a few games or a harmless conversation with his best friend. But Liam is away on a business trip. Only Sophia is home, reading a book in the quiet living room. Seeing Ethan's tense and tired face, she invites him in and makes him a cup of soothing chamomile tea. "You don't look well," Sophia asked gently, setting the teacup down in front of him. "Work stress again?" Ethan hesitated. He wasn't used to sharing his work struggles, especially potential failures. But under Sophia's warm, understanding gaze, his defenses seemed to melt. He began to speak, at first in fragments, then gradually pouring out his worries, his self-doubt, and his fear of ruining the company he had worked so hard to build. Sophia listened quietly, not interrupting, not offering empty business advice that she didn't really understand. She simply listened with full attention and empathy. When Ethan finished speaking, exhausted and somewhat embarrassed by his vulnerability, Sophia spoke slowly. "Ethan," she said, her voice still gentle but with a hint of sharpness. Failure is an inevitable part of success, especially in the risky business you're in. It's not that you never fall, it's that you get back up when you do. You're smart enough, brave enough to see your mistakes and figure things out. Don't let fear paralyze you. She paused, looking him straight in the eye. And remember, your value is not just advanced capital. You're a good person, a great friend to Liam, and a son, whom I love very much. The last word, especially the way she looked at him when she said it, a look that was not just a second mother's love, but a woman's recognition of a man, made Ethan's heart skip a beat. He looked at Sophia, really looked at her for the first time, not as Liam's mother. He saw the intelligence sparkling in her hazel eyes, the subtle charm that radiated from her soft smile, the independent strength in her every gesture. She was beautiful in a mature, profound, and strangely attractive way. A completely foreign feeling, both warm and dangerous, welled up in Ethan's chest. He quickly looked away, his face burning, his throat dry. Thank you, Sophia. You're right. He stood up, trying to hide his confusion. I should probably go home and rest. He left Sophia's house in a state of utter chaos. The image of Sophia, her voice, her eyes kept swirling in his mind. He tried to convince himself that it was just gratitude, admiration heightened by his weakness. That was Sophia, Liam's mother, a woman 24 years his senior. Any other thought was sick, a sin, an unforgivable betrayal of his best friend. He had to put it out immediately. But he didn't know that the forbidden fire had been lit, and it would burn him in endless torment. The following days became a relentless battle inside Ethan's mind. He tried to bury himself in work twice, 3 times as much as usual, hoping that the exhaustion of being busy would help him forget the image and guilt for Sophia. He solved the investment crisis, even signed a few new lucrative contracts, but his success at work could not fill the void and chaos in his heart. Sophia became a constant obsession. He dreamed of her, thought about her in meetings, while driving, while trying to fall asleep. Every little detail about her, the way she smiled, the way she frowned thoughtfully, the delicate scent of perfume she often wore, was engraved in his mind, both sweet and painful. The guilt for Liam was the thing that tormented him the most. Liam was still as carefree as usual, still inviting him to watch basketball games, still telling him funny stories about work and the girls he was dating, completely unaware of the dark secret that his best friend was hiding. Every time he looked into Liam's eyes, every time he heard his friend's hearty laughter, Ethan felt like a despicable hypocrite. He was secretly in love with his friend's mother, a terrible truth that could destroy their friendship of many years in an instant. The torment began to destroy him from the inside. He suffered from insomnia, became unreasonably irritable with the staff, and sometimes became pensive and distant, making everyone worry. He began to avoid Liam, making up excuses to refuse invitations. He also did not dare to go to Sophia's house anymore, even though he always had a strong urge to see her. The internal conflict drove him crazy. He turned to alcohol as a temporary escape, and the drunken nights in the cold penthouse only made the loneliness and guilt more painful. Sophia, with her sensitivity, could not help but notice the worrying change in Ethan. He was thinner, paler. His eyes were often sunken from lack of sleep and full of worries. He clearly avoided her. Her calls to ask about him often received only brief answers or were ignored. She was really worried, trying to ask Liam if Ethan had any serious problems at work or in love, but Liam also shook his head and said no. She felt uneasy about Ethan's sudden distance and strange attitude. Her intuition told her that something was wrong, but she did not dare to think about the real cause. She could only try to keep her distance as he wished, secretly hoping that he would soon overcome this difficult period. She sent him a few messages of encouragement, reminding him to take care of his health, but still kept the caring tone of an older person, a second mother. Liam, though innocent, also began to notice Ethan's distance. He felt disappointed when his best friend suddenly became unapproachable, always refusing to meet up. He tried to ask, but Ethan just mumbled and let it go. Liam felt guilty, wondering if he had done something wrong to make Ethan angry. The cracks in their friendship began to appear, although the real reason was still a terrible secret. There were ironic situations that forced Ethan and Sophia to meet each other. Liam's birthday, a small, cozy party at Sophia's house. Ethan couldn't refuse his best friend's invitation. He attended with a heavy heart. He tried to appear cheerful, talking to Liam and other friends, but his eyes couldn't help but follow Sophia. She was still warm and charming as usual, but there was a subtle distance in the way she treated him. Every time their eyes accidentally met, both of them quickly looked away, the awkwardness and tension evident. Ethan felt like he was walking a tightrope. He was both eager to be near Sophia and terrified of being exposed. He had drunk quite a bit at the party, and in a moment of indiscretion, when Sophia was standing alone getting a drink, he had approached her, his voice hoarse. "Miss Sophia, we need to talk." Sophia was startled, looking at him with a stern, warning gaze. "Ethan, this is not the right time or place, and I don't think we have anything to say." She deliberately kept her voice casual, but there was a distinct coldness. Sophia's gentle but firm refusal was like a bucket of cold water poured over Ethan. He felt hurt, ashamed, and angry. Why was she so cruel to him? Why couldn't she understand his suffering? Desperation and alcohol made him more reckless. He knew he was getting closer to the dangerous edge, where the secret could be revealed at any moment. Ethan's internal struggle reached a boiling point. He couldn't take it anymore. The torment, the guilt, the obsession with Sophia and her cold distance were making him want to explode. He knew he had to do something, no matter how crazy, to get out of this situation, or at least get some answers, no matter how painful. One weekend evening, after a few drinks alone in his apartment, Ethan drove to Sophia's house. He knew Liam wasn't home, having gone camping with friends. He needed to confront Sophia, to get his feelings out one more time, no matter the consequences. He rang the doorbell, his heart pounding. Sophia answered the door, surprised and somewhat annoyed to see him so drunk at this hour. "Ethan? Why are you here at this hour? Have you been drinking?" "I need to see you, Sophia," Ethan said, his voice slurred, but his eyes filled with determination and desperation. He pushed the door open and entered the house, ignoring her objections. "Ethan, go home," Sophia said sternly, trying to stay calm. "You're drunk. We have nothing to talk about." "Yes, we have so much to talk about," Ethan almost screamed, the pain that had been pent up for so long bursting out. "Why are you treating me like this? Why are you ignoring me? I know this feeling is wrong, crazy, but I can't control it. I love you. Do you understand? I love you." He stepped forward, grabbed Sophia's arm, his eyes pleading with despair. "Just once, Sophia. Look at me as a man. Don't look at me as Liam's son. Tell me if you have any feelings for me." Sophia was horrified by Ethan's actions and words. She pulled her hand away, stepping back, her voice trembling with anger and disgust. "Let me go, Ethan. You're crazy. Wake up. I'm your best friend's mother. I'm old enough to be your mother. How could you have such sick thoughts? Love? That's not love. That's selfishness. That's the most disgusting betrayal. You're destroying everything. Your friendship with Liam. The friendship you've had for years. Get out of my house now. Don't ever show your face to me again." Sophia screamed, tears streaming down her face, pointing at the door. She felt her heart breaking, for Ethan's madness, for her fear for her son, and for the collapse of a relationship she once held dear. But the tragedy didn't end there. Just as the argument was reaching its climax, the door to the house swung open. Liam Hayes stood there, stunned. His camping trip had been cancelled at the last minute due to bad weather, and he decided to come home early to surprise his mother. But what he got was this horrifying sight. His best friend, drunk, screaming crazy love words at his mother, and his mother crying, angrily chasing Ethan away. "What? What the hell is going on here?" Liam's voice trembled, unable to believe his eyes. He looked at Ethan, then at his mother, trying to piece together the fragments of information he had just heard. "Ethan, what? What did you just say?" You love my mother." The truth was exposed, naked and cruel. Ethan was stunned, his face pale as a sheet of paper. Sophia choked, unable to speak. Only Liam's eyes of horror, hurt, and the feeling of betrayal were the clearest answer. "No, it can't be," Liam muttered, taking a step back, shaking his head repeatedly as if he didn't want to accept this terrible truth. Then the pain turned into rage. He rushed at Ethan, grabbing his best friend's collar. "You bastard! You bastard! How dare you! You're my best friend! My mother considers you her own daughter! How dare you have such sick thoughts!" The angry punches rained down on Ethan, but he didn't resist, just stood there and took it, tears rolling down his cheeks. He deserved it. He had destroyed everything. Sophia screamed, trying to stop Liam, but to no avail. Finally, Liam pushed Ethan to the floor, looking at him with eyes of utmost hatred and contempt. "Get out! Get out of my house! I never want to see you again. You're not my friend anymore. You're my enemy." Liam then turned to look at his mother, his eyes filled with pain and disappointment. "And Mom, I don't know what to say." He couldn't look at his mother for another second, turned and ran upstairs, slamming the door. Ethan staggered to his feet, his body aching but not as much as the pain tearing his heart apart. He looked at Sophia, sitting on the floor, sobbing. There were no more words to say. He silently turned and walked out of the house that had been his peaceful haven, now only broken and utterly alone. The secret had been revealed, and it had destroyed everything, leaving scars that could never heal. The aftermath of that terrible night was a terrifying silence and irreparable brokenness. The nearly 30-year friendship between Ethan and Liam ended with hatred and the pain of betrayal. Liam cut off all contact, blocked his phone number, and erased all traces of Ethan from his life. He could not forgive his best friend for loving his mother, nor could he face his mother as before. The mother-son relationship became distant, awkward, and full of unspeakable things. The great wound in his heart made him withdraw, losing faith in relationships. Sophia lived in pain and torment. She both loved her son and felt guilty for not realizing and stopping Ethan's feelings sooner. She also lost someone she once considered a grandchild, a close relationship that had lasted almost her entire life. She tried to mend things with Liam, but it took a lot of time and patience, and she knew that the rift would probably never completely disappear. She also completely avoided Ethan, not wanting to bring up the pain and awkwardness. Ethan sank into a deep abyss of loneliness and guilt. He lost his only friend, his second mother, and the love he knew was wrong. He threw himself into his work like a madman, turning Vance Capital into an even greater force, but material success could not fill the emptiness and torment in his soul. He became colder, more ruthless in business, and completely closed off in his personal life. He could have fleeting relationships, but he never dared to open up or truly love anyone again. The fear of the past, of hurting others again, and the guilt of Liam and Sophia haunted him. Years passed. Ethan was still the youngest, most successful CEO in Chicago, an ideal model in the eyes of many. But only he knew the darkness hidden behind that halo. He learned a hard lesson about boundaries, about the consequences of letting emotions get out of control, about the devastation of forbidden love. Maybe at an art exhibition, he happened to see Sophia from afar. She still maintained her elegance and sophistication, but her eyes were a bit sadder than before. They only glanced at each other, no greetings, no smiles, only awkwardness and nameless sadness. The distance between them was now insurmountable. Or maybe he read the news that Liam was married, had a small family of his own, but he did not dare to send congratulations, did not dare to appear. Their friendship had truly died since that fateful night. Ethan accepted his fate. He would continue to live with success, with power, but also with loneliness and never-ending torment. He had loved his best friend's mother, a forbidden love, and the price he had to pay was a sentence of conscience that would last the rest of his life. It was the most bitter lesson, the scar that never fades in the life of the young CEO who seemed to have everything. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. If you like this content, don't forget to click like, Share this story with your friends and family and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more meaningful stories.